After years of negative news and evidence coming out against YNW Melly, he has finally gotten a win within the courtroom. On July 6th, paperwork was released revealing YNW Melly will no longer be facing the penalty within his case. Reports are being released of sloppy paperwork by the feds and the court system, resulting in the penalty being dropped. Then also reports of good defenses coming out from YNW Melly's side with his lawyer. As YNW Melly's mother wrote to Instagram, the penalty has officially been removed from YNW Melly's case. Thank you, Jesus. Hashtag free YNW Melly 2022. Now, with the trial beginning very soon, the court's starting to see defenses from YNW Melly's side. Just as 100K Track, YNW Melly's manager said in an interview with DJ Akademiks, he stated this.
He built a real great solid team away from just being innocent because he wouldn't do such a crime. He prepared himself and got a proper, defense. Their job is to handle themselves in trial, not on social media. You guys are taking it that way. If they say they got DNA in a car, I'm just gonna tell you, Melly DNA was found in the car. You're gonna think, yeah, his DNA was found in the car the day of the. Oh, he jumped in a car and his DNA was in the car. He did it, okay? But you're not gonna put the fact that this was his car for 6-7 months on those documents and dockets and just automatically be like, yo, he's fried. You don't even know what the defense is. You don't even know what the rebuttal is. You don't even know why that situation occurred. You hear ballistics flying, you don't know what the defense is. You hear this, you hear that. You get what I'm saying?
I'm gonna be honest.
If YNW Melly's defense team has done as good as a job as sources claim, YNW Melly could be released from jail at the end of his trial, which is beginning within the next 1 to 2 months. But while things are looking better for YNW Melly, an even more concerning update was just released. On June 12th, a detective in the YNW Melly case stated in court he believes the rapper was likely the one who committed the acts towards the 2 YNW affiliates. According to court documents obtained by XXL, Detective Christopher Williams will be testifying against YNW Melly in the trial. Detective Williams is known to be one of the greatest detectives in the USA at recreating crime scenes to build a better image on how certain crimes went down. Detective Williams' success rate at recreating crime scenes to find out if the man is guilty is allegedly one of the highest, if not the highest, in the USA. Williams reconstructed the scene of the crime by using human-like figures in the same Jeep that they were driving in. He built model human figures being the same height and weight as both YNW Sackchaser and YNW Juvie. He then placed these human-like figures in the exact same seat where they were sitting inside of the car and then used firearms towards them to see if everything would line up. Well, after doing intensive ballistic reports, everything lined up the same way at the actual crime scene inside of the Jeep. As the splatter from you-know-what went on the roof, as well as the window that was behind them on the side. It also revealed that YNW Melly most likely did this act towards Juvie and Sackchaser, only 8 inches away from their face. Allegedly, all signs of who did the act towards Juvie and Sackchaser were sitting in YNW Melly's seat inside of the car. Now here's the photo of where everyone was sitting. YNW Bortland, being the driver of the vehicle, had YNW Melly sitting directly behind him. That leaves Sackchaser and Juvie both on the opposite side of the car. At the start of doing ballistics reports, detectives then used what's called the stick method as well, as they used plastic sticks to match the trajectory of the firearm that could have been used from YNW Melly's seat. The trajectory from YNW Melly's seat showed a perfect match to where Sackchaser and Juvie were affected once they were examined at the hospital, which is also a very concerning piece of evidence. Now, with the YNW Melly trial already beginning and in the jury selecting phase, there was reports of a case layout being released to everyone involved in the case. Here is what's stated inside of that layout. Court documents revealed on October 26, 2018, at roughly 3:30 a.m., YNW Melly was leaving a recording studio with Bortlen, Sackchaser, and Juvie. Video surveillance caught the 4 rappers hopping inside of their Jeep and then exiting the parking lot. YNW Bortlen drove out of the parking lot, going onto a side street to drive home. Inside of the vehicle, YNW Melly was sitting behind the driver, leaving Sackchaser and Juvie on the opposite side. According to GPS evidence found through YNW Melly's phone, YNW Bortlen drove the Jeep inside of a parking lot that was located on the side street. The vehicle then sat in park for about 20 to 30 minutes. This is where law enforcement believe that YNW Bortlen created some sort of distraction inside of the car, while YNW Melly did the act towards Sackchaser and Juvie. With help from the same GPS evidence, they realized the vehicle sat in park for roughly 30 minutes. With YNW Melly's cell phone in his pocket of his pants, he was then seen walking out of the Jeep and walking around it in a circle twice before hopping back in. The theory is that YNW Melly stepped out of the vehicle and used his firearm towards it, making it appear as if they went through a drive-by, which would then be the reason that Sackchaser and Juvie sadly passed at the hospital. While YNW Bortlen then drove Sackchaser and Juvie to the local hospital, 30 minutes later after passing, YNW Melly was seen on GPS evidence sprinting home on foot. 3 to 4 hours then go by, with news headlines already hitting that a massive incident just occurred involving 2 YNW members. Law enforcement were able to go through YNW Melly's Instagram DMs. They found something very concerning. They realized that YNW Melly was having a conversation with a burner account on Instagram with what just happened. As the passing of YNW Sackchaser and Juvie was hitting news headlines, Complex reported this piece of evidence. In a court document, it states, "There is one Instagram exchange that took place hours after the passings, which was obtained by Complex via a public records request. In it, YNW Melly's Instagram account says, 'I did that,' in one message, followed 2 minutes later by another message saying, 'Shh.' The timing of these Instagram DMs is going to be getting used by the state to make the case that those messages amount to an admission by YNW Melly of his guilt, as YNW Melly sent those messages only 3 to 4 hours after their passings. A few messages later, the man YNW Melly was speaking with then messages Melly once again, telling him, 'Hey, there's a Sig 9 on the market.' The state is assuming that a Sig 9 is slang for some sort of firearm on the streets, as YNW Melly replied to this message saying, 'I want it.' Now in the YNW Melly case layout, it states that YNW Melly's cell phone revealed most of the evidence in this court case. Now in more evidence files, it states, these particular cell phones, which were both iPhone 10s, were on the T-Mobile network. And so T-Mobile has a very interesting feature where it will tell you the environment the cell phone is in. So from these cell phone records, I can tell you the exact moment Demons got out of the car and staged the drive-by location. Now also on YNW Melly's cell phone, they did find a video on it that was stashed in his camera roll. The evidence report says, and I quote, "Then also, we have a video of Mr. Demons admitting to doing an act towards 2 individuals in the head. These videos was on Mr. Demons' cell phone, which was brought to my office by Jameson Francis. And that's how we had that, and that is all of the evidence that Your Honor has." Now this evidence gets a little bit more concerning after you hear what the witnesses said. The lead detective on the case said in a deposition that YNW Sackchaser was set to receive $200,000 from YNW Melly's record label. The record label at question is known as 300 Entertainment. The police attempted to subpoena 300 Entertainment during their investigation in order to investigate this new $200K deal. The detective, however, explained the company refused to honor their subpoena. This is when YNW Sackchaser's mother, Jana Thompson, then stepped in. She had to expand on the $200K payment as 300 Entertainment wanted no part in it. In a March 2020 2022 deposition, though she specified she didn't know exactly who this alleged payment was from or who it was for, she said that her son reached out to her a few days before he passed. She says, "My son hysterically called me," she said. "He was very concerned about my whereabouts. He was concerned about his sister's whereabouts. He's concerned, like something is gonna happen to us. And then he told me he would not get his money." As she continued saying, "He said, I'm probably not going to get my $200,000. I'm probably not going to get my money, Mom." So I dig deeper a little bit more into this. Before YNW Sackchaser sadly passed, his music career was just starting to take flight. After dropping hit songs such as Tropical and Back End, it got the attention of YNW Melly and his record label. According to records, they claim that YNW Melly did this act towards Sackchaser so then he would not get paid the $200,000 and YNW Melly would then receive the money instead. And that is a very, very bold claim to make. Honestly, I don't believe that is the case at all. If you don't either, leave a like on the video. And if you're new, make sure you hit the subscribe button. It's been District Trending and I'm out. Peace.